Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to get a bit more tactical and spend some time on those tasks and to-dos we have to get done every day or every week, because as important as it is to plan out a process for your days and your weeks and how you're going to go through those days, and what goals you're going to hit and how you're going to hit them, we are going to end up having to execute on some of this work, and we need to write down or record those tasks someplace so we can actually do that and know what we did. But it's not always as easy as it sounds. You are probably a lot like me in that we've gone through a lot of tools or ways to try this, and we often either forget something or we don't want to do something, and we never come back to it. I suffer from this all of the time, where I write down tasks in the heat of a moment. I'm super excited and inspired, or I'll dictate something while I'm driving and listening to a podcast, but hours later I come back and I don't want to do it, or I don't want to look at it anymore, or really it comes down to I don't remember why I wrote that task down. That, I think, is the biggest problem all of us suffer from, is we write these tasks down or record them someplace, but we do it in such a way that it's really difficult to remember why we did it and what inspired us about that thing. So I want to focus on that for just a minute here. The process you use for actually creating tasks needs to be one that allows you to come back and not rely on your memory or any other outside action to know what that task said to do and how to get it done. So let me give you an example. If I said, have your car fixed, sounds pretty decent. It's clear cut, it's straight, it's to the point, there's no additional info. The downside to that is, if you came back 2 weeks later and you have a few different things you might want to get done in the car, like have it cleaned, have the bumper repaired, get the tires rotated, you may not remember what you actually meant by that task. You may have to look back and go, well, crap, what was I thinking about while I was driving down the road that one day that made me create this task? That's not a good place to be in, because now you're already expending more energy than it took to think of the task and to write it down initially. So a more effective way to write that task down would be something like, have the front bumper repaired. Now, something like that is a simple change, but you're being a little bit more clear-cut and to the point, and you use verbs. That's one of the key differences, and one of the things I want you to focus on is using action words, verbs, as opposed to just nouns. Using them in conjunction with each other helps a lot when you're creating a task. Be as explicit as you can. There's a podcast I listen to. I'm not necessarily going to name drop it, but one of the examples he says for a poor quality task is something arrange for an Oreo cookie ice cream cake. Well, that sounds pretty cool, right? But what does that mean? Arrange as in go to buy it from somebody, call it and have it ordered, go pick it up from the local grocery store? Well, a better task would have been make an Oreo ice cream cookie cake from scratch. That has action words, it calls out explicitly what you want to do, and when you read that task later on, you you automatically know that what that task means is for you to go make an ice cream cake from scratch. There's no question about it whatsoever. That's the important point here. It's again about building a process for yourself, so when you're writing tasks down, there's no reliance later on why you wanted to do that, what was important about it. All that you record in that task is, what is the action that I need to take? Done. So another example might be, organize my birthday party. That sounds pretty cool, right? But we can all think about that later on. What do you mean by that? What all do I need to get done? Was there something specific I had in mind? Well, I don't remember. Maybe I had a party idea that I really wanted to do, like have all my friends over or go to a Chuck E. Cheese, Any of those things could have been the case, but I don't remember. And if I'm having to rely on my memory 2 days later, a week later, it's really likely I'm not going to succeed at that task. So something more like several tasks that explain exactly the different things I want to accomplish to get my birthday done, that would be really, really helpful. Now to switch gears for a second, the tools you use are just as important as the process. You have to start with a process. How you create those tasks and why you create those tasks is the thing you need to begin with, because if we don't do that well, we already said, you won't succeed at this. But you also do need to have a tool to record the tasks so you can come back and reference them later. Because again, relying on your memory is never going to let you succeed, because at some point, your memory is going to fail you. You'll get distracted, you'll get busy, you'll get tired, you'll get excited. Any of those things can create a scenario where you can't remember a particular thing, and that's never good. Don't expend that little bit of energy you have throughout the day from your memory or willpower to try to do something as menial as manage tasks. There's a ton of ways to do that. Again, it can be paper, it can be digital. I'll tell you that two of my favorite tools are Apple Reminders, because I happen to have Apple products and that's what I use primarily today. But if you don't want to use that, one of the best ones I've ever found is a tool called Remember the Milk. You can find it online. I think it's rememberthemilk.com or RTM, whatever you want. I've found apps for it on almost every platform. You'll notice it's a simple tool. You write a task and that's all it does. Now, you can pay money and there are additional options. You can add context to tasks if you want to. But for me, what I've noticed is that these tasks in Remember the Milk are super simple to just write out quickly and check off when you're done. The whole idea is, like the name says, remember the milk, pick up the dry cleaning, do this. Very explicit, very simple tasks. That helps reinforce your process, so you just record these tasks as quick as possible, check them off as soon as they're done, and you move on, and you stop thinking about it. Remember, unlike technology work or other companies where you might have a ticket system and a queue of work that's given to you that you work from, that's not your personal life. And in real life, what you really need is something that lets you very quickly record something, check it off when it's done, and move on. Because likely the bigger thing you're working on, you're already thinking about that. These tasks are just activities you need to get accomplished. When they're done, they're going to roll up to the larger thing. You don't necessarily need to manage them to the nth degree. If you want to, and that's helpful, absolutely do it. Every tool out there you'll find that does to task management does that really, really well. But I would caution you not to dive too far into it. I would recommend starting with write a task down, be able to check it off, and that's the end of what you are required to do. It should really help you save time and energy and get things done so you can go back to your days of, underwater basket weaving or computer gaming or whatever it is you like doing every day. Hopefully this is helpful. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next videos. Have a good one.